Welcome to Queer Agenda and our special Pride episode. Coming up in today's programme...
We've got Big Girls Blouse performance artist Kate O'Donnell coming into the studio to talk about her new theatre tour.
We'll also be chatting to Emily Feller, producer of Banana, about her journey from script to screen.
And for the trans community, we'll be shining a spotlight on changes and progress that have taken place in the UK in the last 12 months.
Pride, a time for lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender people to come together and celebrate their community.
Let's not forget that Pride started as a political movement in the 70s. So here's our reporter Jamie Starboyski speaking to two community groups to find out what Pride and its history means to them.
Jamie met Manchester Pride's Oral History Project and the LGBT Youth Northwest group who were organising this year's political Pride weekend. Both projects are playing a part in connecting people to this historical event.
Manchester Pride is a time of celebration with the lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender community come together to celebrate the political achievements of this year. And Manchester Pride have been given Heritage Lottery Fund to fund an oral history project to look into the past achievements and the experiences of people who've grown up in Manchester.
So the project aims to celebrate LGBT life across Manchester city centre. In 2003, the Europride launched a rainbow trail around Manchester. So you might see, as you go around Manchester city centre, the tiles on the floor. So the project's one of the main priorities is to digitise the stories and information about the rainbow tiles. So it does this in a few different ways. The first way is through a digital tool. So it's a website which is accessible on computers but also on portable devices such as mobiles and iPads. So people will be able to go around the city centre and they'll also be able to map their own trails.
I love Manchester. I moved to Manchester because I love this city and I love the history of its gay village. It's a very interesting history and it's LGBT people. So I saw the project and in my other role I volunteer as a youth worker, so I was just really interested to get involved in talking about the history.
The history of Pride has encouraged some LGBT community groups to walk away from Canal Street celebrations and plan political pride at the LGBT centre.
The point of political pride is that it's taking pride back to its roots. So when Pride first happened in Manchester and in other parts of the world, it started off as a protest march or a protest event that contrasted with what people considered initially gay people to be, which is that if you were gay somehow that was shameful and you shouldn't be proud of yourself. So it was a political statement to be proud of who you were. So political pride is about trying to recognise that there's lots of politics, that we've come out of having a political struggle and have had some successes, but we've also got a huge way to go nationally and internationally to get full LGBT equality.
Jamie Starboyski, Queer Agenda.
Whilst there has been increasingly positive representation within the mainstream media for trans community, we mustn't forget that the reality for many trans folk is one of loneliness, isolation and despair.
In the first part of this series, we look at the mental health issues that affect many in the transgender community, resulting in elevated suicide rates, depression, self-harm. We meet Jamie, a young person struggling with transgender issues, who says he just wants to be happy.
Jamie may look like an ordinary student, but beneath the surface, he is experiencing something that many won't understand.
You really start to question like your gender, and then you start to feel like you're a phony, like you're faking it, you're not good enough. And it's just like, even when I'm asleep I see it in my dreams. And it's tiring, and it's just, I just want to be happy and I just don't want to be sad.
As a young transgender man, Jamie is experiencing dysphoria. That's depression and anxiety associated with his physical body.
For me personally, dysphoria, it's always there. It's stressful, and it just makes you really hate yourself. I think there's just like no escape from it, and the only like end to it is to physically not be able to think anymore, and for a lot of people that's death.
Being transgender can be a difficult thing, and that is certainly evident in the community's suicide rates. It's estimated around 40% of the community have attempted suicide. That's 8 times higher than the general population. This is a transgender memorial based in Manchester's Gay Village, a place to remember those who have not survived their struggle. There are many plaques here commemorating those most unfortunate. Many feel suicide is the only way out. Like Lucy Meadows, a teacher in Accrington. She took her life in 2013 after her gender reassignment hit the headlines. But there is help available, like gender counselling.
It's looking at people who have got gender dysphoria, which is gender confusion, and helping them through the process and the scary aspects of, you know, what will happen if they go forwards for gender reassignment, which could take up to 2 years. And they're just so scared that they may go on to, you know, attempt suicide. I personally haven't had anybody that's attempted suicide. They might have had fleeting thoughts at the beginning, but I think through the counselling that has helped. But, you know, you can't stop somebody doing that if that's what they really want to do, unfortunately.
In a world where everyone is judged, we all try to fit in. Unfortunately, some have paid the ultimate price for being themselves.
Penny's poignant report is a reminder of the acceptance and understanding that the trans community is fighting to achieve. Joining us in the studio today is the wonderful performer and activist Kate O'Donnell, whose theatre tour has been travelling the country with her message of solidarity to stand by your trans. But before we talk to Kate, let's take a little look.
Let me entertain you.
Hi, my name is Kate, and I'm just going to tell you a little bit about my show, Big Girls Blouse. Big Girls Blouse looks at my story. It's an autobiographical piece, how my childhood experiences were growing up feeling like a girl when actually I was born a boy. And who knew what being transgender was in the 1970s? Certainly not my family, certainly not my teachers, and certainly not the doctors that I was taken to go and see for being too effeminate. And then what happens when you grow up? What journey do you have to make to become a woman? Because as the song says...
Reviews have described her show Big Girls Blouse as a humbling experience about love, as a guilty pleasure and as gently political by others. Her show has been getting bums on seats and winning awards. Kate is here to tell us more.
Hello.
Hello, Kate.
Hi.
And we've actually met before, haven't we?
We have, and I brought something to remind you of our little meeting.
I can't tell you what this is about, Jake. What goes in cabaret clubs stays in cabaret clubs.
They're
Jake,
for you.
Oh, thank you. They're just my colour.
There you go.
Kate, Jake, hello.
Hello.
You should
Lovely
meet.
to meet you, Kate. How are you?
Meet. Tell me about your show, Big Girls Blouse.
Yeah, this is something that my dad used to call me when I was little, and it was used as an insult. I think it was just his way of letting me know what a rubbish dad he was. And I think in the true sense of being queer, often we reclaim names. So I took that name, and I didn't want to call it because it's an uncomfortable reminder. But now it's great because people say, oh, I really enjoyed Big Girls Blouse, or I'm really looking forward to seeing it.
And positive.
It feels positive.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Great.
I have it on a T-shirt these days.
Obviously, Kate, you've been playing to packed-out houses and sell-out shows. What's your reception been like so far from the transgender community?
I think the transgender community are quite hard to find. I think it's getting hold of them. I think they're a small community, and within that community, the people who might make it to theatre are quite small. I've been really trying to develop those audiences, and I've struggled actually. But when I do meet them, I make a real effort, you know, to kind of go and talk to them. Literally grab them.
So I've heard you're grabbing them in LA. Is LA next for you?
I have just come back from a holiday in LA, and my friend's a writer, and she has a manager, and the manager is currently looking at my show to see if there's a chance that maybe I could put it on over there.
Wow.
I know.
Brilliant.
I know. That would be lovely, wouldn't it?
Second home in LA.
Come on.
Finally, Kate, your slogan, obviously, for your biggest musical number in the show is "Stand by Your Trans."
Yeah.
So, would you like to tell us a little bit about the thinking behind that slogan, and what sort of reaction it's had from all of your audiences?
I mean, it was completely fits in with the idea of using humour and grabbing people's attention and using song and dance to make the trans issue visible. That was the initial idea. But of course, language is very sensitive within the trans community. And I think it's evolving really quickly. And I have had some murmurings that it's kind of almost... people are a bit... Some of the trans community are uncomfortable being referred to as trans.
But you've taken it on as your own.
Absolutely.
It's the nearest thing that rhymed to man in Stand By Your Man.
And rhyming
I thought it was really clever.
Absolutely,
Kate, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's
It's been a pleasure.
Enjoy your
you.
tit tassels.
Thanks so much. I'm thrilled.
With many of the recent changes in laws around the world giving us greater freedom and acceptance, it's important to remember that for many in the LGBTQIA community worldwide, that freedom has yet to happen.
Globally, the transgender community is often little understood and accepted, and our next report looks into where the times have changed for transgender people in the UK. In the second part of this series, our reporter Penny James asks, are attitudes changing? What is helping fuel the progress for the transgender community?
Transgender. It might be a word you're familiar with, or you might be clueless.
Put simply, it means to change gender. It's an issue that's talked about more and more these days with figures like Jana in the media. But what do people really think?
I like them. Let them do what they want to do, you know what I mean? It's their life, it's not harming me. Why would I have anything to say about it?
Transgender people?
Oh, men who dress as women. That's just a common type of person that occurs in society.
One has to be like boys and girls, you know. So transgender is bad for me.
Regardless of opinion, the transgender community are recognised as a minority that need to be protected by law.
So I'm a member of the Parliamentary Forum on Gender Identity, and the main purpose of that is to try and influence the legislators to understand and include trans in everything they do. It was 1999 before we got any legislation protecting trans people.
The most important legislation since then includes the Sex Discrimination Act that protects transgender people at work, the Gender Recognition Act that gives legal status to someone's new gender, and the Equalities Act that stops legal discrimination. But what would it be like without these protections?
Well, I believe there'd be just as bad discrimination as there was when I was a young person. It would mean people would be much more scared and find it much harder to come out. It would mean people would continue to lose their jobs, would continue to be discriminated against legally.
Another major step has been made by the BBC, who have just filmed the UK's first transgender sitcom, Boy Meets Girl, starring a transgender actor.
If you see a representative from your community on a large screen or on your TV and you feel a connection with that person and you think, I relate to that person, she's been through something that I've been through, then TV all of a sudden is serving its purpose in society.
So things are changing, but what's next?
To me, still, one of the most important is education, and it's about teaching our children not to be discriminatory. Not only will they grow up with a better understanding of equality and diversity, but they'll go home and tell their parents.
Society's views are changing. The transgender community have come a long way, but there's always room for greater understanding and acceptance.
As part of our Spotlight series in the show, we're delighted to be joined on our sofa by the talented Emily Feller, who's been working on Channel 4's series Banana. Let's take a quick look.
But as a lie I live, and in a year from now I wonder if I find the thoughts of you have passed me by. Oh, will we stay forever? Neither of us feeling better.
Having worked on original programmes with strong voices, often with powerful content, we wanted to ask how Emily got into television and how she finds working on independent drama productions. So, Emily, lovely to meet you. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Now, Emily, obviously you've been in the television industry for 14 years now. Now, would you mind telling us how you first got into the industry? What were your sort of break-in moves?
I used to work in administration in a car showroom, and I managed to transfer my skills over to BBC. I got a job as a finance assistant on Watchdog. And I had no idea what I wanted to do. I just knew I wanted to work in television, and it was the only thing I could focus on and I could work hard at. So I got a job on Watchdog for 2 months, and they kept me on. And then over the next 18 months, I worked out all I ever wanted to do was produce drama. And so I put my head down and got on with doing it, really.
Excellent.
Brilliant, fabulous. So what would your top tips be for young people maybe wanting to get in as a producer now?
I would say it's really obvious when people don't have the same sort of passion as you.
Okay.
And I would say get your passion, dig deep, know exactly. You don't have to know exactly what you want to do. You have to know what drives you and what excites you. So if it's drama, watch everything.
You've got to really want it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
So now, obviously, you just produced groundbreaking, queer-themed, along the lines, television series Banana. For,
which we loved.
For E4, which we absolutely loved. Great work. What, can we ask, were the highlights for you of producing Banana?
My highlights might not sound very interesting to most people, but I loved in being involved with the casting. We were meeting some really exciting, new, talented actors that haven't worked before in television. Working till 5 in the morning, I found that really exciting, and getting all of the night scenes done in the middle of summer.
And you built the set, right, of the apartment that they were in?
We did. So linked with Cucumber, who built the main flat where the series was set. We then built Sian and Violet's flat, which I don't know if you saw, and Helen's flat, which if you saw that one as well. So yeah, we built all of that with our wonderful designer, Monica Black. So
great work.
It was fab.
Fantastic. So what's next?
Next is a lot of development, and then next year I'll be producing something that I don't know if I'm allowed to tell you about yet.
Oh,
I think you should go and give us the scoop.
No, thanks for coming on. We've got to give you this, Emily. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Emily.
You.
Amazing. Really, really great. Thank you so much for being here. Ever the international globetrotter, my fabulous co-presenter Jana has been finding out about queer art during her recent trip to New York. And in our next report, she pops in to see our friend across the water, Hunter Ohanian, director of the Leslie Lowen Museum of Gay and Lesbian Art.
Hunter's been responsible for curating queer content art exhibitions, and I asked, how does trans artwork feature in the gallery?
We're putting shows that are gay-themed shows. There's no two ways about it. That's who we are. But we want our shows to impact everybody who walks in the store. You don't have to be gay to be able to appreciate this show or to learn something about this show. This becomes a lens that we all get to learn something about. The transgender community is, of course, much more vocal now than it was before because there are many more options there. And so we do our best to represent that community here as well. And so it presents this big melting pot where we have work from sort of, that's very popular with the older homoerotic work, to work which is much more abstract. I mean, just the difference between men and women. Men love to objectify bodies, either it's theirs or their same sex or you know, and women tend to be far more abstract about it. You know, they don't need to be as obvious about it. And so we kind of look for those different things.
Where does trans artists come in there?
Well, it's up to the individual artist, you know. It'll be interesting to see how the gay community, of course, evolves in this next phase, you know. What we've found is certainly many people who were in their 20s, 30s, and 40s in the Stonewall area who are now in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. There have been two huge impacts to them. Of course, with AIDS, a huge portion of that population is gone, and these are people who were going to a funeral every week. You know, this is
survivors.
Oh yeah, and these are the survivors who are left. And so the pride that these individuals feel is really important. And then you see this other generation of people in their 20s and 30s, people who grew up with everything from Will and Grace and to, the Queer Eye and everything they can see on the internet. And, to see self-body representation is not as important to them, but it's important to them from a cultural standpoint. The fight is not over because there's still people today who will try to marginalize us simply because of our own sexual orientation and who will attempt to dismiss us because of it.
I have had a fabulous afternoon at the Leslie Lohman Museum with the gorgeous Hunter. It's been so interesting, so inspiring, and now I've got a coffee, which is damn good, and I'm going to go off into New York possibly to get my nails did. See you later in the sunshine.
Well, it's time now to join Jana on the sofa to see how her LGBTQIA recruits have been shaping up since her recruitment drive earlier this year.
Attention! After the huge success of Time to Recruit, with thousands of you emailing, texting and tweeting in, asking to join our team, we've managed to whittle those numbers down to the top applicants, our new willing recruits, to you. That's right, you are joining the elite team of top operatives, along with the fabulous Kate, who is looking fabulous.
Thank you.
I'll be sending you out into the world fully trained in order to complete our current tasks. These are your missions, should you choose to accept them. Code word, Mission Fabulous. OK, recruits, let's get started. There will continue to be more missions. Here are our current top 3. Firstly, we need recognition and we need it fast. Darlings, as unbelievable as it is, in some countries, we don't exist. There's no queers at all. No gays here. What about under the sofa? Or at the back where they keep the change? No, none there either. Countries like Russia, Lithuania, Libya and Nigeria don't have laws against being homosexual. No, nothing like that. They just have laws against the propaganda of homosexuality. Got it?
Honestly.
Your mission will be one of infiltration and takeover. Get worldwide recognition for our LGBTQ brothers and sisters and snag yourself a pink beret. Secondly, equal rights. Come here. A little bit close. That's it. Let's imagine you want to buy a pony. An obvious, casual, everyday thing to just nip out and buy. But you're not allowed because you're fabulous. A bit too fabulous for around here, thank you very much. And we don't want our pony to go to a fabulous home where it'll be well cared for and loved. I'm sorry, did I say fabulous?
You did.
I meant gay. And by pony, I meant everything you might ever wish to do, buy or own. Get on out there and let's demand equal rights to buy ponies. Thirdly, but by no means leastly, support for our trans community. Not all of us can or want to be Caitlyn Jenner, love you Caitlyn Jenner, or a he, a she, a him, a her, a they. You're
I'm a her.
I'm a, I don't know, a they, not a V, not a V. We don't want to be a V. But they're very happy to have the chance to choose, or even better, not even to worry about gender. That old chestnut, please.
Gender is so old.
So old school. Your mission is to make the world keep up. Missions accepted. Go out into the world and make it just that little bit more fabulous. Remember, recruits, we need you.
So we've reached the end of the show and it has been fantastic. And now to sing us out is Kate with her rendition of Stand By Your Trans. Bye. Thank you.
Since I transitioned, people ask me, how does it feel to be a woman? And you know, I think I could answer that best with a song. Sometimes it's hard to be a woman when you've the body of a man. You'll have bad times, you'll have tough times, doing things that you don't understand. But if you love me, you'll support me. Even though I'm hard to understand. And if you love of me, well, be proud of me. 'Cause after all, I'm just a trans. And yes, sometimes it is hard to be a woman. A trans woman, gay, lesbian, bisexual, intersex, questioning. But not today. Today it's fabulous. And you don't need to live in the shadows. We can step into the spotlight, because the spotlight, it keeps you warm and safe. No harm can come to you when you're this well lit. And when we stand together, we can do amazing things. And in the words of Oscar Wilde, be yourself, because everyone else is taken. Are you ready to sing along? Okay. Stand by your trans, give her a dress to cling to, and some shoes to try on when nights are cold and lonely. Stand by your trans and tell the world you love them. Keep giving all the love you can. Stand by your trans. It's your last chance to join in, folks. Stand by your trans and show